So there is a ton of panic about the Department of Government Efficiency. And to me, this smells a lot like justice is coming. And justice has to come. They're bussing in protesters to defend USAID, which has been absolutely, in my judgment, proven to be a CIA pass-through that's causing color revolutions in other countries and even here. But there are a series of statements and happenings around this that indicate to me they're circling not just the wagons, they're circling our wagons against us. And all that's happened so far is we have been given potential power, because people will say that information is power. That's one of the biggest scams in the world. Information most certainly is not power. Information is potential power. We're at the potentiation stage. So I'll explain this in just a second. I'm going to give you some information that is potential power for your use. You can choose to use it or not. If you're my age and you've been active at all in your life, or you're in any of the careers that cause you to be active or cause you to sit a lot, you probably end up with inflammation. It feels like your legs are swollen, your back's swollen, you can't ever like roll it out or stretch it out. That stuff can get so bad that you're going to start to limit your movements. When you limit your movements, you open yourself up for injury, such as, man, it hurts when I bend down, so I'm not going to bend down. Hurts when I put my arm like this, so I'm not going to put my arm like this. Suddenly in life, you're going to need to put your arm like this, or you're going to need to shovel snow, or there's going to be a kid dropping, you'd have to swoop down and pick him up. If you don't deal with the inflammation now, your body has atrophied. That's where you get these sudden injuries. And dude, I'm telling you, I know guys my age who have thrown their back out getting out of a couch. I've watched it happen. Guys manage to go, I'm not making fun of them, except I am. Don't let this happen to you. Don't mask the pain with ibuprofen. Ibuprofen causes inflammation. Don't give in to that. Instead, use what I use. It's Native Path Krill. Right now, when you go to getkrill.com/Todd, you get a special offer for Native Path Antarctic Krill as low as $19 a bottle. What is krill? It's a shrimp-like crustacean that's very difficult to find. It's 73 miles off the Antarctic coast in the purest waters in the world. This is like a super nutrient to your diet. It has massive amounts of omega-3 fatty acids, and not just any form of these omegas. This particular forms of omega-3 acids are sourced from wild-caught krill and available to you only from Native Path Antarctic krill oil. A couple of tablets like this, couple of soft gels, helps you minimize leg and foot swelling, reduce joint pain, slow aging, quicken thinking. It helps with the systemic and central inflammation problems. This has replaced ibuprofen. And guys, there are days every week. Thursday is a 2 to 3 workout day. I take this stuff before I work out and after, and no, I am not sore the next day. And yes, I do work out the next day. So go boost your health with Native Path Antarctic Krill. Visit getkrill.com/Todd today to see what deals are waiting for you. That's getkrill.com/Todd. So the Todd Herman Show, we look at some of the patterns in life. Pattern recognition has been a big thing for us, and it's so cool for me to start seeing other people talk about how pattern recognition is our friend, particularly in an era where we don't know who to trust. I mean, through patterns, we can figure out who to trust. When the Department of Government Efficiency came along and it had Vivek Ramaswamy in it, I didn't like it. Pattern recognition with me and Vivek. Guy used to be a liberal until about 5 minutes ago. He was pro-lockdown until about 5 minutes ago. He was big pharma until about 5 minutes ago. So I didn't trust him. When he was moved out by Elon Musk, I think very, very wisely, I can have a better level of trust with Elon Musk, because Elon Musk has been an iconoclast. He's been a changer of things. He's been an attacker of systems. He's been pretty apolitical. He's been pretty good on free speech. He has used a ton of government money to build his companies, and he hasn't always paid us back. He's been consistent in that. And I think that he had a huge stake in the game, given what happened to his son in regard to woke medical politics. I think that really put his focus on changing the world. These are patterns I can recognize with Elon. Now, on the other side of this, he's a transhumanist who wants to put a computer chip in my mind, and I'm not in. So far, that's not being forced upon us. So there's reasons to be cautious about him. But what is he really doing at the Department of Government Efficiency? If you look at the way the media is hitting him on the Department of Government Efficiency right now, they're going after some of his employees because they're young. No, just it. They're young. No, there's no other attacks. They're young. It happens that they are legitimate geniuses. One of these guys used a computer algorithm he created to crack a 2,000-year-old scroll written in code that no one had been able to figure out. He did this just after he graduated high school, but they're young. Well, and they sleep in the office place. Elon Musk has announced that these guys are going to be sleeping in the office place so they can work through the night. He said that in regard to government, working at night is a superpower because no one else does. Working on weekends is a superpower because no one else does. He's in a race against a bureaucracy that doesn't want him to see. Think about this from a perspective of pattern recognition. Every time you walk into the front room and your husband's on his cell phone, he sees you coming and puts it down. Every time. Every time. Do you ever get curious about why is it every time I come in the room you do that? I would be. Pattern recognition. Every time you walk into your teenager's room, let's say your teenager lives upstairs and your footsteps start upstairs, you hear shuffling around and then walk up and there's air freshener sprayed all over the place. Every time. Pattern recognition. What are you trying to cover up? Pattern recognition. They don't want to have this information. So as they started to look at where USAID spending is going, and oh, look, it's going here to help the Taliban grow poppies for. Mike Benz has credit for this too. Mike has been looking in this for years. Oh, it's going here to create a color revolution in this country. Oh, it's being spent in the United States of America to elect DAs, district attorneys, who will not file criminal charges against criminals, pro-criminal DAs. They put twice as much money into this, your tax dollars, through USAID, that George Soros himself did. As these numbers begin to add up, or, for instance, the $1 trillion that Elon Musk's team has found being spent on DEI offices, $1 trillion. When we already have the Equal Employment Opportunity Act, you don't get to discriminate against people because of the race. But as we know, DEI is not about that. It's about racial preference hiring. As they uncover that, you have people panicking. You have people quitting their jobs, their careers, they're careerists. And you have people like Margaret Brennan. So Margaret Brennan is one of those so-called journalists who thinks she is so very smart. She's the lady who said to J.D. Vance, the vice president, she said to him with this self-satisfied smirk on her face, well, America is a very unique nation. It's a country of immigrants. Smirk, smirk. And J.D. Vance answered her so well. She recently was talking about waste, government waste, and she was talking with Representative Mast. She asked a question about government waste.
Purging of people throughout the State Department, other agencies, where we're freezing aid. These are all very important and necessary steps to make sure that we secure America, and we're going to support that.
I'm sorry, can I follow up on what you just said there? You want to authorize purging of State Department personnel? What does that mean exactly?
Well, if you want to take a look at the State Department, where DEI has been a priority over, let's say, diplomacy in many accounts, I could give you hundreds of examples of where they were authorizing.
What proof do you have of that?
Sure. Let's list them off. $500,000 to expand atheism in Nepal, $50,000 to do, let's see, a transgender opera in Colombia, $47,000 to do an LGBTQ trans comic book in Peru, $20,000 a pop to do drag shows in Ecuador. Shall I continue with more examples of where DEI was the priority?
It certainly seems like there could be a review of things. Foreign aid, as you know, is less than 1% of the entire federal budget. So we're talking small amounts of money by comparison.
We're still talking.
Well, no, Margaret Brennan, we're not talking small amounts of money. Foreign aid on an official basis. An official basis is 1%. When it's laundered, we don't know what it is. Foreign aid laundered through USAID has been relatively invisible because it's just USAID. foreign aid through State Department programs that aren't listed as foreign aid. We don't get to audit that. In and of itself, Ukraine is foreign aid. We don't get to audit the Federal Reserve. Guys, if what we're finding in USAID is impressive in regard to fraud and waste, imagine what can be hidden in the Federal Reserve. There's a reason that senior diplomats are quitting rather than have people see what they're doing. A senior guy with the U.S. Treasury, a guy named David LeBrick, announced his retirement, and he did this because the Department of Government Efficiency had sought to get some information from the payment systems. And what Elon Musk's team figured out, these young guys who are, young, the Truly Wired magazine wrote a hit piece on these three guys legitimately because they're young. The criticism stopped, well, they work for Elon Musk. And they've never been government employees before, so they can't do math. All they're doing is writing scripts and codes to more quickly assess where monies are going. That's what they're doing. They're giving Elon and the team quick visibility into massive amounts of data, and they're doing it quickly and visibly. That's all they're doing. What they've identified, according to Musk, is that the Treasury has never denied a payment. Even when it's been going to known terrorist organizations or fraudulent organizations, they've never denied a payment. This is why the panic exists. If the payment is going to a non-governmental organization located in the United States of America that is providing services across the globe, that's foreign aid. But that's not the way it's recorded. It's recorded as domestic money to a domestic organization. So Margaret Brennan's assertion that foreign aid is less than 1% of our budget, it doesn't stand up to scrutiny. So this guy quit instead of allowing Musk to have visibility into this. Chuck Schumer, and we're going to skip ahead here just a second. Chuck Schumer, he went to go give a press conference on this. Chuck Schumer, who participated in kicking Joe Biden out of the presidential candidacy and was almost certainly part of the conversation around the 25th Amendment that apparently they had with Barack Hussein Obama calling the figurehead Biden and saying, hey, if you don't step down from running in the race, we're going to kick you out of the presidency using the 25th Amendment. Chuck Schumer almost certainly part of that, certainly part of, hey, no National Guard on Jan 6. Chuck Schumer, both clown and leftist activist and an deeply ungodly man, deeply ungodly. Chuck Schumer called a press conference to issue a whole bunch of hyperventilating alarms about information, people getting information. DOGE can't stop anything. The Department of Government Efficiency can't cancel USAID. They can't cancel the spending. They can call the spending out, and then President Trump, as he has done, can freeze this spending. No, you can have a constitutional discussion about that. It's a good one. Congress is the one that mints money. But when these monies go to bureaucratic organizations, those bureaucrats work for President Trump. It stands to logic to me that the chief executive of the bureaucracy can say to the bureaucracy, remember that money Congress gave us? Don't spend it. This stands to reason to me. Here's Chuck Schumer.
Before our very eyes, an unelected shadow government is conducting a hostile takeover of the federal government. Last Friday, DOGE forcefully gained access to the Treasury Department's payment systems and to the most sensitive information of virtually every U.S. citizen. Donald Trump basically handed DOGE the Social Security data of virtually every American citizen. Donald Trump gave DOGE access to America's personal tax refund data. He gave DOGE access to people's Medicare and Medicaid benefits, disability payment data, veteran benefit data. Worst of all, we don't know what DOGE intends to do with this information. If you want to know how an unelected shadow government operates, look no further than DOGE.
This is one of the clowns who allowed unelected State Department-sponsored groups to get information to your social media accounts, your handles, and shut you down. This is one of the clowns who has no problem with the intelligence services bypassing the need for a warrant by going out and doing massive spending deals with ad tech companies to be able to identify you wherever you walk in the country by your device ID or device proximities. They can, in very short order, track you given your phone or your watch. And he's deeply, deeply concerned about a non-government entity. Well, first of all, it is a government entity. Secondly, here's what they're doing. They're taking data and displaying it so that we have the potential power, the power to cut $1 trillion in spending, $1 trillion related to racial preference hiring, which is in fact racism and which is in fact illegal. What they're concerned about, of course, is their ability to say to donors, oh no, we can get you the money. Well, we don't want to get caught. No one gets caught. Everybody does it this way. We will funnel this through USAID, who will funnel it through NGOs. There's 2 steps of separation. No one's ever going to know we gave it to you. The same USAID who was apparently paying to have relationships with the Chinese Communist Party's biolabs. Imagine that. Speaking of biolabs, this is all related. The fight to save USAID is a fight to save unelected bureaucracy, is a fight to save money laundering, is a fight to save big companies who've used marketing power through lobbying to destroy America's health. RFK Jr., in a discussion with Bernie Sanders, who somehow, let's give him some credit. No, let's give Bernie credit. Somehow he succeeded in not talking about a onesie.
I'm going to make America healthier than other countries in the world right now.
Will you guarantee do what every other major country does? It's a simple question.
And by the way, Bernie, the problem of corruption is not just in the federal agencies, it's in Congress too. Almost all the members of this panel are accepting, including yourself, are accepting millions of dollars from the pharmaceutical industry.
Oh, no,
and
no,
protecting
no, no,
their interests.
Oh, I thought that would come. No. I ran for president like you. I got millions and millions of contributions. They did not come from the executives, not one nickel of PAC money from the pharmaceutical industry. They came from workers.
In 2020, you were the single largest
because I had
receiver of pharmaceutical money
contributions from workers all over this country. Workers,
you were the
not a nickel from corporate PACs.
You were the single largest acceptor of pharmaceutical dollars.
No, from workers in the industry.
1.5 million.
Yeah, out of 200 million. All right, but you have not answered that question.
The panic in the Muppets' face. They're so good with these Muppets. They're so lifelike, aren't they? I mean, it's almost like he's really alive. The panic in Bernie saying, no pharma money from executives or PACs. What about the junior executives and the companies? The panic around the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE or DOGE, DOGE sounds cooler. It smells like justice coming. And by the way, if someone seeing how you spend your money causes you a conniption fit, you should probably think about how you're stewarding God's funds. If panic about how you're spending other people's money happens, you should probably think about the phrase, you shall not steal.